ladies and gentlemen. It is episode 4 of Football versus Life. My name is Joshua. I'm looking a bit like an airline pilot today, borrowing the wife's headphones. And alongside me is not Mr. Michael Bradshaw, but it is a Mr. Jimmy Nuttall. Hello, Jim Bob.
Hello, thank you for having me back. I'm very honoured.
Well, you see, Michael likes you, I like you, and it just works that way.
And I can tolerate myself, so yeah.
It helps if you can tolerate yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we're kind of rocking game today. Just to show, Jim Bob is going. Explain your shirt, Jim Bob.
Oh, this is my wife's Juventus shirt because I wanted to buy a football shirt for my wife, so I said, "What shirt do you like?" So I presented a choice of options, and she went for the German national team, which is odd as her husband is English, and she also went for the Juventus shirt, classic one. So that's why I'm wearing this one today, because this is the only Juventus shirt in the house.
Can you just let me see it in sort of full? I'm just want to have a look. Do you know what? I thought that sponsor would be really, really terrible, but it actually works.
Yeah, it's actually quite good. I mean, the color scheme with it, because they put it on the kind of white and the red with it. Yeah, it kind of blends into the pink. Yeah, look at us talking about fashion.
I know. We're going to be on the Milan catwalk before you know it. So the shirt I'm wearing is also a Juventus shirt. It is the Juventus shirt from, I think, a couple of seasons ago. I was in Adidas with you, actually, when I got this shirt. It was last year, and it's got Pablo Dybala on the back.
That's why I recognise it. Yeah, I remember you buying them. Because you also bought like a Sweden shirt.
I got a Sweden shirt, and I got a Wales shirt as well with Gareth Bale on the back. The Dybala, the Dybala on the back hasn't aged well, considering he scored against Juve recently for Roma. So, shall we reflect? Oh, also, Juventus water bottle as well.
Oh, and nice.
yet, I'm not a Juventus fan. Although you can't deny they are pretty cool. Anyway, shall we reflect on results last week? Well, there's been 2 games during the week. Your lot are responsible for the sacking of 2 managers.
Yes, that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
For context, Liverpool won 9-0 against Bournemouth. Scott Parker has since been sacked as Bournemouth manager, but that's for other reasons. And Celtic won 9-0 against Dundee United.
They won 9-0 as well.
Jack Ross has gone.
I was ecstatic. I couldn't believe it. Like, both my teams had won 9-0. When does that happen? You know, when do you get to celebrate? On the same day, 18 goals. I mean, obviously, they have both respectively have derby games today as well. I mean, I'm not expecting such big results, but you know.
Oh yes. That'll segue into it nicely. So that was a good one for you. And I think you won during the week a 98th minute winner from young Fabio Carvalho. He looks decent.
Oh yeah, that's right as well. Yeah.
He looks decent. We lost context. I'm a Leeds fan. I know, for my sins. We lost to Brighton, but Brighton have started the season really well. But we got a draw against Everton, which is not too bad. Everton still haven't won a game yet, so.
No, I mean, those 2 signings from Burnley may help. I don't know.
They may help in sending them straight down to the championship.
Exactly,
yes. So today we've got a couple of things to discuss. Our topic today is legendary players, and if they played in the landscape, would they still be at the club where they were famous at?
Yes.
The answer to that question, to most of my suggestions, is a resounding no. But we'll get to that. Because first things first, as mentioned, it is the Merseyside derby today, and it is also the Old Firm derby today. So
yes, it is.
I've got little categories and questions that we can go through to do with derbies. So the first one is the best derby in Britain. I'm pretty sure you and I both have the same answer for
this. Say which one, sorry?
The best derby in Britain, I would say, is the Old Firm.
Oh yeah, like we said last time, right? Yeah, the Old Firm, I think. Yeah, definitely the Old Firm. For everything, you know, on-pitch action, intensity off the field, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. I think it's just, it is. I mean, whether we agree with the quality of Scottish football, Harrison to Premier League, of course, that's usually it's worse. But on this game, you've got to see it as a separate entity. This is the Old Firm derby. not a everyday Scottish Premier League game. This is an event.
It's also you never know if you're going to get stabbed or not in one of these games as well.
Unfortunately, yeah, the
Yeah.
off-field action is sometimes a little feisty. So, yeah.
But unlike most derbies, which are due to being geographical, of course it's geographical it is, but the old firm's a lot more than that, isn't it? Because is it Celtic are the Catholic club, Rangers are the Protestant club.
Yeah, so it's an interesting. So basically, to give you a brief history lesson, what happened was there was a lot of Irish immigration, particularly from the northern part of Ireland, which is Northern Ireland, in kind of the Victorian period, and of course, kind of political, demographic things that were going on there got transplanted into the west coast of Scotland. So then, when two teams were set up, you had one team, Celtic, which was set up as a kind of charity club by a priest, basically, who had set it up as a charitable organisation so that the poor communities could have something, and then stuff could be given back to them as well. And of course, on the other side, you had the kind of more Presbyterian Protestant club that was out of the Protestant Scottish population, but then also the kind of Protestant Irish that have moved over during that time attached themselves to Rangers. So what you ended up getting is you kind of in short got the Irish Catholic uh, align themselves to Celtic, the Irish Protestants align themselves to Rangers, and obviously now it's gone on many more generations, and everyone's like fully Scottish and integrated, but that kind of that lineage has kind of kept there. So that's why there's sometimes some tensions. It's kind of people say it's religious, but it's kind of more political and historic in many ways as well. Because you can trace it all the way back to like the Battle of the Boyne and William of Orange. So if you're really interested, it's very long. And yeah, it's completely got nothing to do with football. Yeah.
How come you've not got a YouTube channel where you talk history? Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever want someone to dissect British history for you, Jimmy Nuttall is the man.
Coming soon
Coming soon, Jimmy travels back in time.
to a YouTube channel near you.
Exactly. Um, there was something I was going to add. Have you been to an Old Firm derby?
Unfortunately, I haven't got that far. I have to say, hand on heart, I've not been able to have that pleasure, unfortunately. So no,
I
I've
would,
not
I,
experienced it.
I would love
Yeah.
to go to
Oh,
one.
I would love to. That's one of those like bucket list things I have. I would really just love to go and experience an Old Firm derby.
We should
Really
do it.
would, yeah.
We should do
Yeah,
it.
we
We
should
should
do it.
make that happen.
Once we get more views on here, I mean, people click, subscribe,
Yeah.
comment, and then hopefully we'll be able to get, those tickets.
Sponsors are welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
Sponsor us to an
I'm
Old Firm
cheeky.
derby.
Yeah. Sponsors. It's like those charity things, isn't it? Please give just £2 a month, and it will
Yeah.
go towards not a charitable cause. It will go towards going up to, I assume, Celtic Park.
Yes. Oh,
I
yeah.
would
I'd
feel
want
a
to watch
lot
it.
safer. I
I'd
would
want to
feel a
watch
lot
it.
more safer.
Yeah, exactly. Celtic Park. Yeah.
Worst derby in Britain. Worst one.
Oh, that's an interesting one because what? Because you can think like worst as like, would the atmosphere be bad? And then I think like there's things like Burnley and Blackburn, which I just detest for the kind of uh, how would I say? Basically, on match day, because I would live, near Burnley
Yeah,
and Blackburn on match day, and you go into town, and there'd just be so much police on horseback, and you just knew that things were going to kick off. But for no apparent reason, other than that they're kind of fairly close to each other, but they're not even that close. Like Burnley and Blackburn are close, but they're not that close, and
exactly.
and it starts to get like they all start shouting, "Your mum's your dad's your mum," and all this kind of stuff. It's the same. And
Oh
I'd
my
like to
god.
just point out that the claim goes equally both ways.
Exactly. Do you know what? When I was thinking about the worst derby in Britain, I went based on how pointless it is. I went for the Crystal Palace Brighton one. Why on earth is that considered a derby?
Yeah, exactly. This
They're
is
in two different
again
places.
exactly. And these ones like where they're from different places. Like Burnley Blackburn, that one as well, and they there's kind of an almost what's the word like a kind of very very small claim to it being a derby because it's
Mm.
like, oh, well, we played them a few times. We played them 3 times in 1983. So
Yeah.
then it became like, so now it's a derby.
So I think Luton and Watford have a derby as well. I'm not
Yeah,
sure. Friend of
that
yours, maybe
one. I mean, because I've got a good friend who's a Watford fan, and
someone
he's
has
told
to
me
be.
more about it. I kind of get that from what he's saying, and it's kind of like just because one's in like Bedford, I believe, one's in Hertfordshire, and then
Yeah.
it's like Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire, so they kind of have a bit of. It's not too far adrift, so I can kind of understand if you haven't got places nearby
Yeah.
and that, but yeah,
I mean, I think I know we were saying like how the ones that are in different places. I can understand why Man United and Liverpool have a sort of derby. They're the two. So they're the two most successful clubs in the northwest as well.
yeah, exactly. And again,
Bragging rights.
that one goes back to like a historic reason as well, to do with like this the ship canal or something like that. I forget which one was which, but one city was taking work away from the ship workers and the other. So that, again, it was another reason outside of football.
Can you
I'm
imagine
sure
when
Burnley and Blackburn has a similar reason outside of football, and I apologise to Burnley and Blackburn fans, to which I have many friends.
can you imagine they're like, well, I mean, people from Manchester coming over to Liverpool stealing our canals.
Yes, did in our canal.
Oh, blooming hell. What's my next one? Oh, the best derby in world football.
Oh, I would say Boca Juniors River Plate. Yeah, that's one I would go for.
So glad you said that because I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
suggest that. I've
I
never
mean, if
actually
you've
watched the
seen
game.
clips of their atmosphere, and it just looks. That's another one. Please subscribe so we can go.
Yes, please. I would love to go to La Bombonera.
Oh yes.
It would be
Oh, it just
amazing.
looks.
I'd just love to rock up to
It
Bombonera
looks
because La
incredible.
Bombonera is like in the middle of Buenos. Is it in Buenos Aires? I think,
Yeah, Buenos Aires.
and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
in the middle of the city. It's not on the outer
yeah.
Hebrides.
And it's a proper
Oh,
like working man's club as well. You know what I mean? Like the kids play on the street outside, dreaming of
yeah.
playing there. It's
And there's been some quality players for both sides.
yeah. Oh, there
Oh,
has. Yeah,
or has.
yeah.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, at some point there'll be a future podcast where we talk football games. James and I are Pro Evolution soccer fans, and La Bombonera and El Monumental on that are represented beautifully.
Oh, they are.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh,
Makes
they
me
are.
want to
Oh,
do it.
they are. Yeah,
Makes me want to
yeah.
do it a South American thing. Here's another one for you. The most underrated derby.
Oh, that is a good one.
My
I'll let
pick
you go
is
on that one
my
first.
pick is the Edinburgh derby between Hearts and Hibs.
Oh, yeah. I would
I
actually. They are some good games. They are really some good games.
really are.
Yeah,
Another
yeah. I would
derby,
have to agree.
another derby I think is underrated is trying to think. I think the Steel City derby between Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday is quite underrated as well. There's also the
Yeah.
derby between Nottingham Forest and Derby County.
Those Villa Birmingham City ones can be feisty as
Yeah.
well.
Do you remember the
Yeah.
one a few seasons back when the Birmingham
Yeah.
fan went onto the pitch and punched
It
Jack
punched
Grealish
Jack
in the head?
Grealish. Yeah, yeah. I went to a bar with the Shanghai Aston Villa fan club, and I was watching that with them because I got invited to come along. Come and watch this. So I was like, "Oh, I'll see. I'm sure it's going to be a crap
Yeah.
game." Actually, it's such a really good experience because
I love
because
I love Jack Grealish's interview afterwards, and it's like you scored the winner after this, and he's there going, "Yeah, best day of my life."
yeah, exactly.
Like,
It was a good game. It was,
it
yeah,
was really good. It was really good.
yeah.
How the both clubs have fallen. You remember when Birmingham City like 10 years ago were winners of the Carling Cup or Carabao Cup or whatever it's called now.
Whatever it was, yeah.
Yeah, and in
Was it
Europe
Worthington at one point? Yeah,
it was
yeah,
the Worthington Cup.
mm,
It was called.
yeah.
I think it was called the Milk Cup as well.
Yeah.
Can we bring
Unlike
back?
unlike us, it's had many sponsors.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, can we bring back milk as a sponsor? Can we have the Cravendale Challenge Cup, please, or the
Oh yeah.
Cravendale Community Shield? Not the
I'd be
McDonald's one.
I'd be eating cereal throughout it.
You'd be there going like, "Welcome to today's game,
Yeah,
sponsored by Weetabix."
exactly. Oh, I could.
Now, a derby you would love to see. I think we've already answered that one.
Yeah, the old firm. I've technically, I'm not going to claim that I've seen a Merseyside derby, but I have seen Jamie Carragher's testimonial at Anfield, which was against Everton. So, I mean,
Did
I
he play?
got
Sorry, did he play for both teams?
he, but he took the penalty for Everton when they got a penalty.
Yeah, because
So,
he's an Everton fan.
and I was in the Cop for that because I've never otherwise been able to get tickets for the Cop.
Oh,
So, and they had loads of legends there who came back and played. You know, like I remember Owen was playing for United at the time, and then came and played in the Liverpool kit. You know, so he got half booed, half cheered. That was quite funny.
it's like boo, yeah, boo, yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
What do we do
I don't know
here?
what to do, mate. I don't know what to do. Who I watch here. I don't know.
And you got Steven Gerrard going, all right, calm down, calm down. Oh,
Oh,
so a derby we'd love to see is that I would say the Old Firm. I'd also would like to see the Super Classica. Is that what it's called? It's Super Classica.
yeah, yeah. I think so. That sounds about right. And I would like to see Dortmund and Schalke as well. I would like to see that.
Ooh, that's a good one. Sorry if
Yeah,
you heard barking in the background. My dogs
yeah.
go crazy. I forgot to put what the most overrated derby was, and my opinion is El Clasico.
Yeah, that's same for me as well.
I just
Classical, I think.
sure it's had some great goals, but it just doesn't excite me. It
No,
really doesn't.
exactly.
If
Yeah,
on the same day it's like, oh, tune in later for the bit. And also, the Manchester derby's overrated nowadays.
I think so because I
Because
do think so.
beforehand it wasn't, because there was once upon a time, ladies and gentlemen, if you were born pre 2009, you'll understand this, where Manchester City, shock horror, weren't very good.
Yeah,
And
no, it's true.
the derbies had an extra spice because City would always give it a go.
And also, I think it's because of what Man City have become as an entity. To be fair as well, Man United kind of became this very commercial entity through the 90s as well. So they've both become these kind of almost big, over-supported powerhouses that don't have the soul that they used to. You know, if you look, but if you go
Yeah,
back to like, you know, Manchester in history, have got they were kind of bigger difference of like City in the 70s or United, you know, during the 90s or whatever, you know.
yeah.
So, but they kind of had soul in that time because they were proper Manchester clubs with Manchester supporters, and they had proper Manchester grounds, and you know it was. I remember going to a market in Manchester, like an underground market in the 90s, and just seeing like diehard City fans and diehard City stalls. You know, that was the only place that you'd buy the shirts in Manchester at that time. You know, and it was a real kind of like authentic feel to the club, and it's amazing how quickly it's gone from
Mm.
like that to that. I
The
mean,
game
it's not that quickly. I'm 30, but you know what I'm saying?
the game is so far removed from
Yeah,
the common person. It's not in the market stalls anymore. It's in commercial conglomerates and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Ooh, conglomerates, get me with the
I
big
mean, it's like the
words.
football museum as well, because obviously, like we all remember when the National Football Museum in England was
Should
in,
go back to Preston.
yeah, and now it's in Manchester because, of course, you've got these two massive clubs there, so they have it in Manchester, so they can have the big, oh, we are City, we are United, and then
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I like the building, but it should go back to Preston because one of the things about it was at Deepdale,
yeah, exactly.
and you
And
looked
they
out,
were
and
the
there
original,
was
in the original Invincibles,
they
weren't they? Yeah,
were.
yeah.
It
So
was them. Then it was Leeds. Then it was
yeah,
Nottingham Forest. Then it was Arsenal. So yeah.
yeah. So no, it was much better in Preston.
Best
PME.
best goal you have ever seen in a derby. This could be on TV or if you've actually been
Ooh, that is a good one. Best goal that I've seen in a derby on TV. Or I've not, because like I said, I've not really been to many derbies, if I'm honest, like in person. Hmm. I'm gonna have a think. I'm gonna let you go first on that one because there's a
So
few.
it was Arsenal versus Tottenham. I think it was 2000 and 2009, 2010. I think Redknapp was in charge at the time. I think
Yeah,
it was Redknapp. Danny Rose was making his debut. Now, Danny Rose had been signed from Leeds a couple of seasons back and had been in their youth team, but he was making his Premier League debut. Corner comes in for Spurs. It gets cleared away, and from about 30 yards out, Danny Rose just smacks it first time on the volley, and it flies in. It was amazing.
yeah,
It was another one, even though we said the Manchester derby is overrated. Rooney's overhead kick against
yeah.
City in 2011. It was
Oh,
pretty tasty.
speaking of 2011, I just had to have a quick gander at my phone down to check what year it was actually, because it was a Samaras goal against Rangers. Is the
Oh,
one that I
nice.
really. because I mean, Samaras was just like at times like I just remember him being quite crap. But then he had moments where he was like a volcano, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he wouldn't do anything for 100 years, but then all of a sudden
Yeah.
he'd come up with something spectacular.
He's
Yeah,
like today I'm going to be Vesuvius.
yeah, exactly.
And the
So
defense is Pompeii.
yeah,
Exactly.
that was basically it. Yeah, and he looked almost biblical at times as well, you know, with his kind of like
It's long
long
flowing
hair
hair.
and yeah. So when he did come into element, it was something special. Yeah,
He should have been called Jesus Samaras,
Jesus. Yeah, yeah. It was
which is
not.
which is which is what Celtic fans would say every time he missed. Oh, Jesus Samaras! What the hell?
That was the time. But yeah, he did come up in that game, and it was a good goal. But
Do you
yeah,
remember? Do you remember during an FA Cup game? There was an FA Cup game on ITV, and it was between Everton and Liverpool,
yeah.
and they went to a commercial break during extra time, and they had to come off it quickly because Everton had scored.
Oh,
Yeah,
which year was this?
I think it might have been. I think it might have also been about 2009. Dan Gosling that scored the winner.
Oh,
Sorry to
Dan
bring that
Gosling.
up.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry to bring up that painful memory, but yeah, I remember watching it. Like they went to a break, and it's like,
yeah.
what are you doing? Doing a commercial break in the middle of a football match?
Oh, that rings a bell. Actually, I do remember like there being a game where they went to commercial break at the wrong time. Yeah,
Oh, it's amazing and mental at the same time.
yeah.
Right. There's a few little sort of, I say would you rathers. I'm going to give you two teams and you pick which one you prefer out of them. These are derby themed. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Spurs or Arsenal?
Oh, if I had to like
If you
kind
had to
of
pick,
yeah.
yeah.
What's the word like where you pin you something to the mast? You
Yeah. Pin your
yeah,
flag to the mast or something
pin
like
the
that.
flag to the mast. Yeah, something like that. Ooh, it's a tough one for Arsenal, I suppose, because I have periods where I go through because I'm neutral to both, and I'm like, oh, I quite like Spurs at this moment. I quite like
Yeah.
Arsenal. I'll go Spurs, I suppose,
Yeah, I
because
would say Spurs. I would say
yeah,
Spurs. Because for
yeah.
years, Spurs were always in the shadow of Arsenal. So it's like anytime they're
Mm,
ahead of them, it's like progress.
yeah.
This is an easy one for you. Celtic or Rangers?
Obviously, Celtic,
Absolutely. Boca or River?
Boca,
Boca, yeah. Barca or Real?
Barca.
Real
How
for
about
me.
you? Are you
Real.
more Real? Yeah.
Well, it varies. Again, I go through phases, but I feel like at the moment, I like watching Real Madrid in the Champions League last season, and I always
Mm.
like Zidane as well. So
Yeah, yeah. They have had
again,
some really great players and stuff like that. Like we talked about before, like Manuel when he was in Madrid and stuff. So I
oh
kind of liked watching them during that time and stuff. So yeah, yeah.
yes, indeedy. United or City? City,
Yeah, City. Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Sheffield United or Sheffield Wednesday?
Probably United. I think.
I would choose absolutely none of them because I hate them both. But if I had to pick, it would be Wednesday. Fulham or Chelsea?
Now Fulham, 20 years ago, not 20 years ago, 20 years, yeah, maybe 20 years ago or 25 years ago, Chelsea.
To me, that question's like, which pineapple pizza do you want? The Domino's one or the Pizza Hut one? I hate pineapple pizza, but I'll go
So
for
it
the
doesn't
one
matter.
from. I'll refer to Domino's UK, and that can be Fulham, so I'll go there. Burnley or Blackburn?
Oh, so oh, I hated both as a kid because obviously I was a Liverpool. I was a Liverpool. But let me tell you a story. So I went to a school in Clitheroe, which, if anybody knows, is like slap bang in the middle between Burnley and Blackburn. So it was kind of more of 70-30 shift Blackburns because a lot of the kids came in from like Worley area, which was nearer to Blackburn and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of split. Yeah, Burnley, Blackburn. So every kind of time that game was on, I always had to hear about it, and it was always like this, Burnley, this. Like I talked about the chants and all this kind of
Yeah,
stuff. And like I said, both fans were as bad as each other, and they didn't act in a very classy way most of the time. I have to say, if I had to choose, I don't know. I've got more friends, I suppose, who are Burnley fans, and I know that some of my family are more keen on Burnley. So, and I did like Burnley under Sean Dyche. Saying that, I also did like when Shearer was at Blackburn and all that kind of thing as well. So it's a tough one to choose. I suppose in the modern era, I'd have to go. But but I don't like saying Burnley either because I'm more kind of Preston for that kind of. Oh, this is a tough one. I don't like saying either one, to be honest.
I'm saying
Yeah,
Blackburn. It's a good thing you said Preston because the next one is Preston or Blackpool.
yeah. Again, I'm a living contradiction. I'm from Blackpool, but I prefer Preston. So yeah, it's Preston for me.
I
Yeah,
liked Blackpool when they were in the Premier League that one season because I love the fact that they had no fear whatsoever.
yeah,
And they were
yeah,
so unlucky, but I would love to see Preston in the Premier League.
yeah,
In
yeah.
fact, if I carry on doing what I'm doing on Football Manager at the moment, that could happen.
That's the only way though, because honestly, ever since Preston lost that playoff final against West Ham in like 2005, they've gone, oh no, let's not push any further. What if we go
Yeah,
through the same pain again? So I've got no sympathy because they don't try.
they got relegated in that time. Although I do like the bosses at the moment, so
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah,
he instills a different uh, what's the word, work ethic. Right.
yeah.
Last question on derbies: a derby to win the league or to win a cup?
Oh, that.
Last game of the season. You need to win this derby to win the league, or you need to win it to be champions of something.
See, I kind of feel like this is a historic question because if you look back to the 80s when you had like Everton and Liverpool going to Wembley for like FA Cups and what have you, that was the cup was definitely the big. I think that's
Yeah,
just much bigger atmosphere. Personally, I would still say cups because I'm old school. I quite like the FA Cup, but I think a lot of people now would say the Premier League
yeah,
because,
they would.
yeah, league or whatever. Yeah.
They would. Right, we now move on to the conversation. So, I was having a edit session on a old PES game in which I had a bunch of legends that I wanted to put at their respective teams, but then I didn't. And Jimmy here suggested, why don't you put them, imagine that they're playing now and where you think they would go, which has now led to this topic.
Yes.
So I've got a small list of players, mostly attack minded. If I can think of any defensive based one, I will. And we're going by them in their prime, but the state of the clubs they play for as of now, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So we're basically saying, would these players, if they're playing in their prime, play for like the modern version of the club where they were legends? And the first one is Monsieur Vavavoom, Thierry
Ooh,
Henry. In his
Thierry Henry.
prime, when he was at Arsenal, do you think he still would be playing for Arsenal?
No, would not be playing for Arsenal.
No, I don't think he would either.
No.
I don't think he would. I think he would have gone. I think if he'd done as well as if he'd started his career like doing well at Monaco, he would have been snapped
Yeah.
up by PSG.
Yeah. See, I think like a PSG or even like a Man City or something like that, I think he would be now. I
He
think he'd
went.
be that kind of club.
They signed. I think they signed Henri from Juventus, where he was
Yeah.
playing as a winger. But I think if he'd done the whole Monaco thing, say he started Monaco again,
Yeah.
I think he would have ended up. He would have ended up at PSG, but like Kylian Mbappe. So
I think so now as well because of like PSG being such a caliber of a club that they perhaps went then. So I think it's yeah, it's quite feasible he would be there. Yeah.
did you know people who watched that before 2009, PSG were also terrible?
Yeah.
Amazing what happens.
They were only formed in like the 1970s, weren't they? Of like a combination
Yeah.
of the two clubs, and then Paris FC, who were originally part of, formed their own club, but there was another club, Saint Germain. So yeah, they're basically just like
Yeah,
in their infancy, really. Yeah,
basically. Now, I'm referring to Prime Alan Shearer as the one at Newcastle for
yeah,
several years. So we're imagining he's done Southampton, he's done Blackburn.
yeah.
Do we think a player like that? I actually think yes and no.
See, I think now, I mean, if we're looking now,
Yeah,
say like the thing was going to happen this year, like he would go to Newcastle because I mean, obviously they've had the takeover, and he loves his hometown club. You know what I
he
mean? Even though
does.
they've not for Shearer, I don't know. I kind of think like if he'd have got the opportunity in any era, he kind of seems like he would have gone. But obviously, if they were in the championship like they were, a season or two
Yeah.
ago, that kind of then he would have gone somewhere else.
Do you
Yeah.
know he rejected Sir Alex Ferguson twice?
He did, yeah, yeah. He
Once
rejected.
once before going to Blackburn, and then the second time before going to Newcastle because he was just like, I want to go home.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly. So you've got to respect that. So I think he'd probably end up in Newcastle again. I would think. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I could see it. As you say, with the takeover and whatnot, it could be. I could see it, especially if Blackburn are in the Championship and Newcastle offer the money. Robbie Fowler, again, I'm referring to prime Robbie Fowler as the one that
yeah,
tore defences apart for Liverpool in the 90s and early
yeah,
2000s before he went
yeah.
to my team and we ruined him.
So Robbie Fowler, I mean, you've got to remember that Liverpool team wasn't exactly great. It
It
was
was
very
not.
underwhelming in the 90s, but you had some quite overwhelming players.
Yeah.
So Fowler, be at Liverpool now, you can't even make the team, and that's where you've got to think
Mm.
perhaps would he be elsewhere. But then you've got to think as well that football's changed a lot, the style of play, so the kind of
Yeah.
striker he is these days. You know what I mean? You don't have
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So I would probably, in all realistically, if teams are as they are now, he'd probably be at a Premier League club that plays a bit more kind of old school football.
Do you think like a
Um,
Southampton or
yeah, exactly, like a Southampton. Or dare I say it? Yeah, yeah. Maybe they've even gone to the other side of like
Everton? Yeah,
yeah,
maybe he'd have
yeah,
actually
yeah,
gone to his home club. Speaking of
yeah.
Southampton, Matt Letizia,
Oh, Matt Letizia, such an underrated player, Matt Letizia.
he
Oh, so
was.
good. I had him as a pro star. You remember those like big head
Oh,
figures
the
things?
figures.
Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah,
remember those.
yeah.
He
And I
apparently, he apparently didn't train really at all.
Oh, I mean, many players didn't know if they had the gift back then. It wasn't really like they needed to because it wasn't as athletic a game as it is now. Is it really? You know, you didn't have to be fit for as long as you do. You had to be physical, but that's a different thing. Like you see many people who drink a lot and smoke a lot, they can fight. You know what I mean? They fight for a few minutes and whatever.
Yeah.
So put a leg in for like a minute, but to run the length of the game like you have to do now with the Gurgen press and the tiki taka and
Yeah.
stuff like that, you know, you've got to be. So Letitia, like now, I think for a similar reason, I think he would be at somewhere where he would be able to knock a goal in like a Brighton or somewhere like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah,
I feel like with his talent, I don't understand why. I mean, I respect the whole. I feel like there were a lot of more one club men back in
yeah,
the day. But when you think about the talent he had and the caliber of goals he scored, do you think he
yeah.
stayed at Southampton because it was like built around him and that no other team would have really?
Possibly. I remember reading about this, and unfortunately, I can't really recall the details too much. But that they were asking that same question, like why would someone of his caliber stay at Southampton? Obviously, it was different if he already felt like he had enough going for him there, like you said, if they built a team around him and all that. But I also feel like we talked about last time with Chris Sutton and things like that.
Mm.
There was a lot of strikers who made the England national team, and there was a lot of they were kind of under the radar, these kind of strikers. So they were still playing in the Premier League, but they didn't perhaps get the big break for other reasons as well. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Right, we're going a bit foreign for the next one. Andrei Shevchenko.
Oh,
Prime Andrei Shevchenko at AC Milan before he went to Chelsea.
oh yeah, AC Milan. AC Milan now. He he would possibly be at he could possibly be at Juventus.
Good. I could actually still see him at AC because AC did win the title this season. But then
That's true.
again,
Yeah.
but then again, Zlatan
Yeah.
Ibrahimovic is in the team.
Yeah.
Maybe they would have worked together. I could still see it personally.
Yeah. Yeah. It's possible, but yeah. Yeah.
What about the Brazilian who used to feed him passes all day long, Mr. Kaká?
Oh, Kaká. You know, funnily enough, I was watching highlights this morning of Kaká. It was the game where uh, the Champions League game where Madrid played against United and they you know Ronaldo's return to Old Trafford that game, right?
Yeah,
So and yeah, I was watching Kaká and I was like, yeah, this guy's good. I mean, that whole team was good. So I think he'd be playing anywhere top
do you,
team, top European team. I don't
yeah.
see him in the Premier League, but
No,
continental football, like yeah,
do you know? I've just had this thought how some of the Brazilians that the Brazilians like Vinicius and Rodrigo that
yeah,
Real Madrid have now, they
yeah,
signed them from very young from Brazilian clubs. I feel Kaká, if he was starting his career again in the modern era, I feel that would have happened. I think of going to AC Milan, I think Real Madrid would have snapped him up.
I think they would have as well. Yeah.
And because his Real Madrid spell when he went there wasn't great, but I feel like if he'd have gone there as a youngster, it'd be a lot better. So yeah, no, I don't think he'd be snapped. The next one is Gabigol himself, Gabriel Batistuta. You and I have both said that we could see him at Chelsea.
Yeah. Batistuta, yeah. What a player he was.
He was.
I've had him on FIFA a couple times.
Oh my word! Oh, I would love it. Can gaming companies? Yeah, we live in a world of. Could someone please remake a football game from like the 90s,
exactly,
the era, where I can do a career as a 90s Italian? That'd be great.
Exactly, with all these players that we love and remember. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're saying no to Batistuta being at Roma, but what about? Surely Roma's all-time greatest ever player, Francesco Totti.
Oh, Totti. Just give me a moment there. Okay, I'm back in the room.
That's why I like playing old-school PES games, because Totti's on there.
Yeah, exactly. Totti, why not? Jose Mourinho's there now, right? Why wouldn't he be at Roma? I think he could be. Yeah.
I'm going to be controversial.
Go on. You wouldn't think he was.
Yeah. I think Juve would have snapped him up.
Yeah, I mean that's possible as well. Yeah. I think Juventus could have. They could have definitely.
This next one is extremely hard. This next one is really, really hard. I'm talking prime Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo, Inter Milan, Real Madrid era Ronaldo.
You know, I was actually talking to a Brazilian guy the other day about Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about how great he was, and he was talking about how like even he'd gone back to play for Corinthians, right? And he pot belly, but he was still knocking in the goals, and he was still the top goal scorer. Do you know what I mean? He was just that good. You know, like even without any fitness whatsoever, he could find the goal, he could sniff it out. Yeah.
But do you think? Yeah. Where do you think he'd play? We both said that Man City would be.
Yeah, I could see him at City. Yeah, I could see him. I think if it's Prem, probably City. I couldn't see anybody else. I mean, with the amount of Brazilians that are in Liverpool's team now, I mean, maybe they would have had to go again, even though it doesn't necessarily the system.
True.
If they were playing, but I think probably City is out of the Prem. Yeah.
What about Roberto Carlos?
Oh, Roberto Carlos.
Again, I could see him at Chelsea, but then again, I could also see him being like Marcelo and being at Real Madrid through his entire career.
Yeah, Chelsea. Or Real Madrid. I mean, there's no. Yeah, I think he would still play Real Madrid.
Yeah.
To be honest.
What about Gigi Buffon?
Ooh, Buffon. Ooh. See, he spent most of his time at Italian clubs. And I feel like there's a reason for that and he went back pretty quickly after going to PSG. So I feel like he would be an Italian club.
I think he'd still be at Juve.
Yeah, I think he would. Maybe Inter or something like that. I don't know, but yeah.
What about Mr. Golden Balls, David Beckham?
Oh, David Beckham now. See, David Beckham's an interesting one. Oh, I also talked with that Brazilian guy about David Beckham the other day as well. And I was talking about like everyone now is all like, oh, Beckham, but everyone forgets the red card against Argentina, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
I was crying after that game. Everyone forgets that. So,
but then he made up for it by being the captain, and he scored against Argentina at the World Cup 4 years later.
Yeah, is that making up for it though? But it's like, oh yeah, and I scored this goal to qualify us against Greece. So what?
I would say that makes up for it. I would say that all is forgiven.
No, for me, the amount of tears I shed, I was 6, right?
Also, what do we class as prime David Beckham? Because Beckham was in his stride at United, went to trophies and started there as a kid. He was there for 11 years, and then he went to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say Man United Beckham was prime Beckham because he didn't win it really that much.
Prime Beckham, I think. Because he left United, he was very good at what he was doing, but it was more slower pace of football. You know what I mean? He's United. Where Man United now? He was a boyhood Man United fan, despite being from London.
True.
Although I think he was kind of, like he could have gone to any of the big London clubs as well, like Spurs or Chelsea or somewhere like that as
I
well.
could see him at Spurs.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's a
So,
question for you. Name the Lancashire team that David Beckham went on loan to early in his career.
I watched the highlights of this as well. Preston North. He actually did those
Oh,
North, and
was he good at? Of course he was good.
yeah,
Otherwise, United would have played him.
he did. Yeah, it's one of those things. I know people in Preston do go on about it as well that he did grace them there for a while. So yeah, yeah.
I've got four more players to pick from. Actually, after this next player I'm going to talk about, I've got four more after this next one. This one I thought originally was going to be really, really hard, but it's extremely easy. Zinedine, not be at Real Madrid, he'd be at PSG.
Yeah, yeah, he would. He would.
Again,
I think a lot of the French players that were really good back then,
yeah,
they didn't have a club to go to. You know what I mean? Like, so I think they would want to go and play abroad. I think they had the choice of top level football that they wanted to in their home country at the time.
that's true.
Yeah,
That is true. But it's the thing. If it kind of depends. Actually, if he'd gone like played at a friend, he started his career at Bordeaux. I think Bordeaux was like the first big team where he started. If he'd have started there, then yeah, PSG would have come in for him. But if he'd have done Bordeaux and then Juventus, then maybe he would still end up at Real Madrid. But for now, I'm going to say he'd be at PSG because of the money.
Yeah,
What about Dennis Bergkamp? I don't think he would have been at Arsenal.
Now, Dennis Bergkamp, as we know, famously didn't fly.
He did not.
Like myself, actually. Now, as I get older, I get more and more scared of flying. So I kind of do feel some kind of sympathy for him there, right?
Yeah, I haven't been on a plane in like almost 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the fact that we've not kind of like had to go home and allow as well, so it's kind of longer time without. But yeah,
fever.
So of course, when you think about Dennis Bergkamp playing for Arsenal, it was very, very clever because he could take a train back home if needed to. Do you know what I mean? You don't even need to. So he wouldn't have gone too far afield. So we've got to think about clubs that would have been in that. I'm kind of thinking of like in Europe, then a coach vicinity. You know?
Yeah. I'm getting the National Express. I'll see you later.
Yeah, yeah. So where would he have been now?
Let's see if it's prime Dennis Bergkamp. Because people, do you know? I think Dennis Bergkamp is actually very underrated.
Yeah. Oh, very underrated. He was fantastic. He was so
brilliant.
Good.
I could have seen. I honestly could have seen him at. I mean, started at Ajax, then he went to Inter Milan. I could have seen him at an Italian club. I could see him at a Spanish one. Would he be at Arsenal?
Probably not. I think dare I say it'd be more likely to be at like Spurs than Arsenal.
Actually, I could see him at Liverpool.
At Liverpool, yeah. That's
just because if any Spurs fans and Arsenal fans are watching, I don't want to get killed. My name is not.
No. Dennis Bergkamp would not go to Spurs.
No, he would not. Yeah, no, he wouldn't go to Spurs at all. What about this? Is one for you, Stevie Gerrard.
Stevie Gerrard. Although as I'm also a Celtic fan, I have contradictions about this man now because he's stopped the 10 in a row. But as a Liverpool fan, he's just a legend. So Steven Gerrard, well, he played at Liverpool during a time when Liverpool weren't great, and he was the best player. To be fair, so be at Liverpool, and he's still one of the greatest players of all time in his position. So I think he would still be at Liverpool. You know,
agreed. Frank Lampard. Again, I would say yes.
Yeah. I think Chelsea should be at Chelsea or I mean, he started out like West Ham, right, with Lampard.
Yes,
so
he did.
So we got to think like if we was to there could have been a whole host of teams coming for him that he could have gone to after West Ham.
Man City. He did play for Man City for a season.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, City. Yeah, I could see. No, City. I think is more realistic.
Actually, he actually suited City, which is weird.
I think he would suit City, like prime Lampard. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
What about Mr. Prime Ferdinand at Man United? No, absolutely not.
Chelsea, I think.
Chelsea, I could see Chelsea, yeah. So, what about? I'm going to do some more honourable mentions. Paul Scholes.
Paul Scholes. See, the thing about Paul Scholes is it's like this kind of puppy that's just happy to have a dog biscuit. Do you know what I mean? And it never realizes.
Oh my god, that's the title of the episode. Paul Scholes looks like a dog happy to get a biscuit.
Because he's an absolutely fantastic player, but he just never, you just get the feeling that he never knew how good he was.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like he'd be happy playing about an eyelid, but I don't know if he had better represented, because you got to remember a lot of these United players, they didn't have so good agents, or they kind of represented themselves during that kind of class of 92 guys that came through. So I think they could, well, if they had better representation, he could play anywhere, right? Paul Scholes.
We said City.
I think we kind of mentioned this. That I think he may well have found himself on the other side of Manchester.
Yes.
He could have taken the wrong bus, gone past Deansgate, turned wherever you go, and then
instead of heading towards Salford, he's headed up towards
exactly. He stopped to watch a film at the Odeon in Printworks, and then came out and took
went to the National Football Museum and decided, I'm going to play for City. Do you know what, though? Because I did it on Pez, I had him at City. Him and Kevin De Bruyne is a centre midfield partnership that I wish would happen.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah, it would.
De Bruyne would have the scope to just keep bombing forward, and Scholes would just sit. But the thing is, though, people say Paul Scholes couldn't tackle. They were correct.
Yeah.
There's a player, I should have written this down. Prime Xavi and Iniesta.
Xavi and Iniesta.
Think of Barcelona as they are right now.
Yeah, probably. Well, I think they'd be more likely to play for Madrid then, I think.
I'd say maybe like an Atletico or something like that. Maybe Real.
Oh, yeah, Atletico, or even Juve or somewhere like that.
I think Iniesta would probably go for the more underrated European giants, and I think Xavi would be God tier.
Yeah.
Barcelona is a whole video itself. Do you think of any legendary players that I haven't mentioned? There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. How about in prime Emil Heskey?
In prime Emil Heskey? Where are we considering that he was in his prime at Liverpool?
I'm saying Liverpool, like a treble season, and he was fantastic there, like really underrated. Not a lot of people, because people go on about Owen during that season, but actually, like, he was really good. The partnership there was really good. So yeah.
However, if we're doing it based on modern teams and that, no, because his playing style would not suit Liverpool. Actually, no, saying that, he'd be like Firmino, actually.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is it. Yeah.
Ooh. Emil Heskey doesn't get the credit he deserves, and that's my fault.
So I had to mention.
Do you know what? Yeah, I was going to say Stoke, but then I was like, no, actually, no, I could see him at Liverpool. I actually could. Have him as like the centre point. Then you got Salah and Diaz.
Oh, imagine that. Oh.
That'd be amazing. I could go with that.
I need to have some football game that has Heskey on and just put Heskey in the Liverpool team, and that'd be
or just make it. PES 16 has Heskey on.
Oh, it does, yeah.
He's at Bolton.
Yeah, but he's got like really rubbish stats, like 67 or something. If I could edit it.
Yeah, edit his stats, lower his age, put him at Liverpool. Boom, there you go. You have Salah, Mane, Heskey.
Nice. I'm liking it.
Disclaimer. There was meant to be a section on shirts, but alas, the Wi-Fi made it impossible to listen to. So here's what happened when I met up with Michael to watch the derby.
Finally managed to negotiate and get everything ready. Michael is looking particularly sweaty right now. I think it's going to be one of the... Michael, what are your predictions for this?
I don't do predictions.
Apparently this shirt here is bad luck.
It's a jinx. It's a jinx.
And yet he's wearing it. Go figure that out. If I have to see this Everton goalkeeper kit at all, like we were talking about it earlier on the podcast, if I have to see it again, I'm going to have an aneurysm.
Yeah, I just had to say, what's worse, the kit or the keeper wearing it?
I don't mind Jordan Pickford though. Tell us how you truly feel, Michael. At the moment, it's still 0-0. There's not really been much to shout home about. The Old Firm game sounds a lot more exciting right now. Did not score. How's your heart rate, Michael?
1,000 beats a second.
How did he not score?
Clock's getting sacked in the morning, mate. Mum will be getting sacked in the morning.
Post twice. Twice. We have hit half time in this Merseyside derby.
Was my fucking pasta, mate.
Michael, where'd you stand on at half time?
I mean, this shirt is not doing us any good.
The cursed shirt.
Yeah.
Almost a goal though. Who hits the post twice in 30 seconds?
Fucking hell.
Just still maintain some hope.
Of course, I'm still probably win 9-0.
Nice. Michael is losing the will to live. Talk to me.
Now we're bringing on a 36-year-old.
Are you? Who?
Fucking Milner.
Milner's decent.
He's put down his fucking cup of tea.
His cup of Ribena.
He's taking his slippers off.
Taking the pipe out.
Yeah.
Away he goes.
He's put his pipe out.
This game really hasn't offered anything at all.
Stop watching Emmerdale reruns. He's gonna get on the pitch.
Coronation Street's up next.
The omnibus. Yeah. Sunday's not the same without Emmerdale omnibus.
Oh Jesus. Some dude from Swansea saw my Juventus shirt and thought I was Pablo Dybala. I wish. I'd take being Alex Iwobi right now. Here is a top tip from Football vs. Life for you. Never have the notifications on for a game you're watching when the game is on TV, as this twat has just found out. These two new friends of mine are loving life. Michael's not. Michael, is this a lesson to you? Is this a lesson to you?
It's this shirt, man. I knew I should have worn the shirt.
Yeah, sure. Let's blame it on the shirt and not the notifications on his phone. 1-0 to Everton.
Come on.
1-0 to Everton. No, he's not. No, he's not.
He's offside.
He's offside, lad. He's offside. We have a goal at last.
Oh, you dickhead!
He anticipated the contact with the post.
Yeah. I put that post in the ground. They got a goal kick out. That's like winning the chance.
Stop this right down there. I'm calling. Oh wait, no, never mind.
Oh, come on.
Please score an own goal right now.
Good out. Whenever we pass back to a goalkeeper, I always get flashbacks. Who was that? Scott Carson? Do you remember that goal? Goal for England? Oh,
Croatia.
Yeah,
That was Paul Robinson.
Paul Robinson, that was it.
That was Gary Neville. He did a still going. The ball. It's still going. We're into Fergie time now. Oh, penalty, surely no. I love that they're celebrating like they've just won.
get a fucking bill.
If you ever wanted to know what a disappointed man looked like, it looks like that.
Now I've got a nice day tomorrow and trying to sort out lessons for next week.
Can I make a suggestion? You should maybe ban that shirt.
I know, I need to get a new one.
You should. Don't get the weird, crazy one.
I'm going to.
No, but clearly it doesn't work for you. Well, that's weird and out there, and you're doing shit.
Anything other than it.
Title race is already over, let's be honest. Signing out now. Say goodbye, Michael.
I've never had a moment like this before. I swear I saw you in dreams of yore, where oceans started to rise. Your love is a kaleidoscope, I'm hypnotized. Oh lady, maybe